One of the first things that got me into it was the fact that a lot of mainstream publishing is so biased towards money and people paying for adverts. I think one of the things that really hit me early on about mainstream magazines is that you'd get a magazine with say a band on the front cover, and then later in the issue you'd see a review where they didn't even particularly like that artist and things like that. And I guess when I was a teenager I started to think, well, these people have just paid to have this cover and their record label paid for this. And I don't think many bigger magazines are ever going to cover the sort of music I'm really into. And I think that goes for music, it goes for football fanzines, it goes for all areas that you might make a fanzine from, like craft type fanzines or design type fanzines. I think it's stuff that doesn't get exposure from bigger publications.
Like when we were with Mike Perry, like he constantly did a lot of zine creation, and I think that kind of influenced us a lot, just to kind of constantly be doing it.
Where's the one we made with him? We've not got the one.
I think we gave that one away.
Alright, because he made us like go through his drawers. He has like massive planchets of stuff, like prints. He made us go through them and just like we had to cut all his prints down, which is weird, and then make 50 zines of all his prints. So it was like kind of making a zine in itself out of.
Yeah, it was just all pattern based. It's beautiful. It's really nice.
Yeah, his stuff's nice. But yeah, we spent 3 months with him, and like in the studio you'd spend like a day, you'd get like a 40 grand job from O2, but where his joy came from was just making zines.
So when you self-publish something, you can take those stories and put them out in the world, and you're not subject to someone else's editing or censorship or preconceived notions of what's good or bad writing. You can just take your creative vision and put it straight back out there for other people to see.
Well, if I'm working professionally, I have to have a brief given to me, which is a lot lengthier than just a simple word which we'd use for out. And also it's constantly having to feed back to another person and making sure it fits for them and their agenda, whereas without, it's just as long as I'm satisfied with a piece of work, and it's obviously I ask so the other members of Out and a few others what they think of it. I'd be happy with that, and that can be done. Whereas if it's proper work through Out, I mean, you can't just think of yourself, it has to be the company's.
I think maybe you're definitely more free to experiment. I mean, I suppose with things happen, our zine, you are your own client, if you like. You can have that freedom to lay out a page in a particular way or make particular decisions which may be cut down, if you're working professionally, by either the client or the person that you freelance for. And I think also it gives you an opportunity then, once you've got your zine, and if you're working on other publications for clients, to put a portfolio piece in front of them that is your zine, that you can kind of say this is what we're capable of, and then that can inform your design process with them.
I suppose the artist book allows the scope to do whatever you want in terms of format. You don't have any limits. You don't have a publisher saying it has to be this. You don't have an editor saying it has to be that. And, there are many disadvantages to this. I mean, much of my work goes out with spelling errors, grammatical errors. But there's something nice about that. The artist book is by nature very scrappy, I think, and they are all very ugly things, but that's what makes them beautiful.
I don't produce work commercially or, illustrate stuff for a living or anything like that. I work in a primary school, that's my day job, that's cool, But an artist is what I am, and and the self-publishing scene, I think, is the most accepting place to be for any artist,
Zines are important because they're proof that you don't need the acceptance of a man in a suit in an office somewhere. This is Sifa. Hello, Sifa. And this is little Rini. And this is little Skibby. That's why I make crappy little zines, and why I like reading other people's zines. Zine's also important because you can talk about anything you want, like silly little cats like this. So there you go. If you're feeling creative and you don't need the acceptance of anybody else, go make a zine.